Hello from Myrtle Beach. Today we are going to tell you what Myrtle Beach is really like in the month of September, answer all your questions about crowds, about the weather. Also, we're going to go over all of the events in September, so be sure to stay tuned for that because September is packed with events, a lot of super fun things and a lot of things that are free. Hi, I'm Carmen. If you're new here, we cover everything Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area. And if you're a return viewer, welcome back. We are so glad to have you with us. So we always get questions, what is fill in the blank month really like at Myrtle Beach? What are the crowds like? Are things open? You know, all those kinds of questions. And we are moving into the off season. The city of Myrtle Beach says that the main season runs through October 31st, but once we hit September, crowds drop off sharply. Does that mean no one's here? Of course not. People are still here enjoying this beautiful weather, beautiful beaches. I mean, it is a great time to come as long as we don't have any storms, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But let's focus on crowds first. Talk about the crowd levels. The crowd levels in September are not bad at all. However, it's not like January levels either. It's in between. The good thing is almost everything is still open. There might be a few things that close, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. I know one of the first things to close is Family Kingdom Amusement Park, so if you're interested in that, I would definitely check their calendar on their website. Their dates are different every year, so I can't tell you exactly when they're going to close for this year. But other than them, everything else should remain open. I'm not aware of anything else that closes in September, and I'm not saying they do either. I'm just saying check their calendar because it varies each year. And also, I think Family Kingdom sometimes goes down to weekends only, things like that once you start getting into the off season. But I know I keep calling it the off season, so let's move to weather and talk about the weather. Barring storms, and I'll get to that, this is some of the best weather. It's great. It's hot, it's humid. But we start getting those days in September where it's not so bad. You know, like it's not as brutal as say July or August. You start getting cooler mornings. No guarantee of that, of course. The one thing that you do not have to worry about is the ocean getting too cold to swim in. In September, the ocean stays plenty warm to swim in, so you don't have to worry about that if you love to swim in the ocean. Also, as far as I know, most hotels keep their pools open. You can check with them to be sure, but I can't imagine them closing them down this time of the year. And also, you can always check for a hotel with an indoor pool too if you want to be absolutely sure. That's something you can look for as well. But the weather stays hot. We have a detailed video where I go through each month in the fall and give these statistics. I'm talking average highs, average lows, average rainfall. If you want that level of granularity, I will link that in the description below, or you can go to our channel and search for, or go to YouTube, search for Carmen and Brian Myrtle Beach fall weather, and it should come right up. You can watch that and get all the nitty-gritty details. But generally speaking, it's great weather. It's really great weather. It is not cold. You don't have to worry about that. Towards the end of September, there's a chance of a cooler day, but I'm not talking about cold. I'm talking about slightly more pleasant is what I would call it at this point, because it's super, super hot today. Also with weather, though, we do have to talk about the storms and rain. September is one of the rainiest months in Myrtle Beach. Again, on average, not a guarantee. Just talking about historical averages, it's one of the rainiest months. August and September are the rainiest months. And then also, we will need to talk about storms and hurricanes. September as the highest historical average of hurricanes hitting the Myrtle Beach area. That's not talking about hurricanes in general, that's just talking about ones that have come to Myrtle Beach. So September is the top month for that. Hurricane season runs June through November, so there's a chance of one anytime in that season, but September your chances are a little higher. So we've given this tip before, but it bears repeating. Always check your cancellation policy, not just if there's a mandatory evacuation, but also if you just personally don't feel safe and want to go home. So always check those policies with your hotel, your Airbnb, whatever it is that you're renting. Definitely check on those policies. Very, very important this time of the year. I know some of you have already heard us say this if you're our regulars, and thank you so much if you're a regular. But we got burned by that many, many, many years ago before we lived here. So it's definitely something you want to, and that was actually a mandatory evacuation and they still didn't give us our money back. So definitely check into that with your rentals. Very, very important. Also, while we're talking about rentals, let's talk about prices. prices start to drop this time of the year. You get much better deals on rentals, both hotels, Airbnbs, condos, you name it. Going through rental agencies, all the prices start to drop once you get to this time of the year, and it really starts to drop around about mid-August when schools start coming back. You would think Labor Day weekend would be crazy. It's not. There's people, don't get me wrong, but it is not what you would expect. It's nothing like Memorial Day or 4th of July. It is a very mild crowd weekend, I would say. I mean, there's people for sure, but it is not too bad at all on Labor Day weekend. Before we lived here, that was when we frequently came because the prices were decent. I'm not saying they're cheap, I'm just saying decent. And it was such a fun time to come when it wasn't super packed with people, and you've got that 3-day weekend, you're off work one day without having to take vacation. So that's definitely an option and not a bad time to come at all. So also, other things can be cheaper too. You can start getting deals on restaurants, buffets, look for coupons, look for Groupons. There's monster books in the front of hotels. A lot of hotel lobbies have them. A lot of grocery stores have them in the front, like in the lobby area of the grocery store where the grocery carts are. You've got monster coupons, you've got big bucks, you've got some other ones. That will at least get you usually a buck or two off. Also look for early bird specials. Those get even better as we go into the off season, you know, even cheaper than they are in the summer. So check out for those. As far as crowds, I always give the tips about go places early to avoid crowds and things like that. That gets less important this time of the year. I'm not saying you won't have a more pleasant experience if you go a little earlier. I'm just saying it's not as necessary, so you don't have to stress so much. I would say the evening meal, it's still better to go early, but again, not as important as it is when you're in the full summer crowded season. That's when you really have to be mindful of the crowds and getting there early. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to give it a like. That helps other people find our videos, so we greatly appreciate that. That really helps us out. Also, if you'd like to learn more about the Myrtle Beach area, don't forget to subscribe because we cover Myrtle Beach. We usually put out 2 videos a week. We cover everything up and down the Myrtle Beach area. And so you want to hit that subscribe so you won't miss any of that. Let's talk about events now. And there are some exciting events coming up in September. This is a bumper month for events. So if any of these line up with your trips, definitely recommend checking them out. First up, this is technically in August, but it's on Labor Day weekend, so I feel like it bears mentioning. It is the Waves of Praise Gospel Festival, August 30th through the 31st at Burroughs and Chapin Pavilion Park. And like I said, that's part of Labor Day weekend, and that includes live music and the Myrtle Beach Mass Choir, plus a kid zone, food, craft vendors, and admission is free. And if you're not familiar, because you're going to hear me mention that location a couple of times, the Burroughs and Chapin Pavilion Park, that is where the old Pavilion Amusement Park used to be. It's near the corner of 9th Avenue North and Ocean Boulevard. It's right there across the street from that big Ripley's Believe It or Not building, if you do better with visuals like I do rather than cross streets. So that's the location for that festival. And like I said, I'm going to mention it again. Mustang Week is at the Myrtle Beach Mall, September 2nd through the 7th. And they also have other activities throughout the whole Grand Strand area, up and down the Myrtle Beach area. So it's not just at that one location. So you can check their website, just search for, I'm just getting by the water. Search for the Myrtle Beach Mustang Week and 2024, and you can pull up all the events on Google. Surfside Beach Family Festival is September 15th at 10 a.m. in downtown Surfside Beach. Surfside Beach is just south of Myrtle Beach. Anor Harvest Hoedown is September 21st, includes 140 craft booths, entertainment, food, and games, plus a parade. Anor is a nearby town not far from Myrtle Beach. If you're not familiar with the location, you can just look that up on Google Maps. The Atalaya Festival is September 27th through the 29th at the Huntington Beach State Park with artisans, local food, and musicians. The Beach and Chili Fest is September 27th through the 29th at the Burroughs and Chapin Pavilion Place with chili tastings, beer gardens, food trucks, live music, craft, and other vendors. And the admission for that is free. And we actually have a video of that. So if you're interested, again, you can search for that, or you can look in the description below If you want to search for it again, just go to YouTube, search for Carmen and Brian Myrtle Beach, and then put in Beachin' Chili Fest. That's with a hyphen in after the beach. And that is a lot of fun. We definitely recommend that. Also, there's the Irish-Italian International Festival in North Myrtle Beach on Main Street. That is September 28th. And then there is the Myrtle Beach Bike Week Fall Rally, September 30th through October 6th. So a good chunk of that's in October, but that is definitely something worth checking out if you're into motorcycles for sure. It's a pretty big happening. They have a spring rally as well. So definitely something worth checking out. If you'd like to learn more about Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area, be sure to click on the video on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.